We have Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers taking on Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. This is your Week 8, 2025 prediction and preview video. We will start off with the home team here in the Steelers. But the biggest story here, Aaron Rodgers is facing his old team and the Green Bay Packers. You go back a couple of years ago. Many people thought the Green Bay Packers are trading up in the first round. They may be getting a wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers or a defensive player to help out Aaron Rodgers to make one last Super Bowl push. Instead, it was the opposite. They traded up and they selected Jordan Love. And it did make Aaron Rodgers upset. It was a Brett Favre 2.0 situation. Many years before that, Brett Favre starting quarterback for the Packers. In the first round, they select Aaron Rodgers. It's the Packers' way. And I want to bring this up. It was a great relationship with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. He was never nasty towards him. He was never a jerk towards Jordan Love in general. He helped him out in his development. And he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game in the NFC. And Aaron Rodgers, even though he's 40 years old, he is still swinging the football around the field at a high rate. And the Steelers are 4-2 entering this matchup against the Packers. They are coming off a tough loss last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. They lost this matchup 33-31. Aaron Rodgers did have 2 interceptions, but he had 4 passing touchdowns, 249 passing yards. The biggest thing to pay attention to in this matchup is the run game for the Steelers. They found some success over the last couple of weeks with this jumbo set. They'll run 3 to 4 tight ends on the field with Connor Hayward, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, who is a very good receiving tight end. And they have Darnell Washington, who is essentially a baby offensive lineman at that position. Is one of the best run blocking tight ends in the NFL. But this is the problem that you run into if you are the Steelers. The Green Bay Packers, they are elite against the run. They have the second best rushing defense in the NFL. Can you find success against this tough defensive front? And if you can't find those creases with Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, you can work off a play action. But I look at it from this standpoint here. The defense for the Steelers, they've been very inconsistent this season. And they've had a lot of bad moments, especially off of last week's loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. You may want to work off a time of possession. You may want the Green Bay Packers to play from behind, but you have to take care of the football in this matchup. 1 interception last week wasn't Aaron Rodgers. He throws the football deep down the field. The safety, he gets the interception. He overthrew DK Metcalf. Miscommunication there. The second interception was not on Aaron Rodgers. He throws a complete dot to DK Metcalf. He gets hit by one defender. The safety comes out of nowhere. He hits him in the chest. He knocks him out of bounds. The cornerback comes up with the football. So they have to do a better job in this matchup of taking care of the football, and that's for everyone on this offensive end. The running backs, the quarterback and Aaron Rodgers, and the same with the wide receiving position. But this offensive line here with the Steelers, they've done a very good job in the last 3 weeks of protecting Aaron Rodgers. You have to zone in on Micah Parsons, but be very careful here. Lucas Van Ness can give you a lot of problems in the open space. We've seen him have a lot of good moments this season against the Detroit Lions and the same against the Washington Commanders. Teams are so focused in on Micah Parsons, and rightfully so. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He's an elite player. But that means when he's getting double teamed, he's getting all that attention. Other players in the front seven, they're in one-on-one situations, and the same with Rashawn Gary. You cannot let those other players go out there and put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. The quick game in this matchup should be your best friend. Get that football out quick. Get that football out quick to DK Metcalf. The same with Jonnu Smith and Pat at the tight end position. And speaking of Pat, he had 5 catches for 111 receiving yards last week, 2 receiving touchdowns. 68 yards was the longest catch of the day. And that went for the last touchdown of the day for the Steelers before the Bengals went down there and they kicked the game-winning field goal. But I look at it from this standpoint, get Pat involved early. They waited too late last week to get Pat involved. In my opinion, he is the best overall tight end on this team. Jonnu Smith is a very good receiving tight end, but Pat, he can block. He can win those one-on-one opportunities against a linebacker, against a safety. Get him involved early and often. DK Metcalf is going to be tough here. They're going to put a lot of single high coverage on him to where they essentially put him into double team situations with the corner right in his face. He can beat press man coverage. He's one of the best deep threats in the NFL, but when that safety slides over, who else can win those one-on-one opportunities? So don't force DK Metcalf the football. Maybe you put him inside the slot for certain screen opportunities, but please do not force him the football in this matchup. That is what got Aaron Rodgers and this offense in trouble last week. even though he had 3 catches for 50 receiving yards. Jaylen Warren, 4 catches, 31 receiving yards last week. That will get it done. And Jonnu Smith had a receiving touchdown, 28 receiving yards. I'm telling you, this Steelers team, this season, they love their tight ends. It's old school. It's basically an offense out of the 1990s. Sometimes it looks good. Other times it looks bad. But you can run that quick game on this Packers defense, especially in their front 7 against these tight ends. And this is the one thing with Darnell Washington. You can move him around. He could play on the left side of the field. He could play on the right side of the field as a tight end. It was a situation earlier this year. They had him inside the slot, blocking down as just a big body wide receiver. He's versatile in that way. And I know it's crazy to see Darnell Washington inside the slot. More times than not, you're not going to pass him the football. But we've seen them go out there and pass him the football in space, and he breaks 2 to 3 tackles. You have to find ways to get those plays underneath. But please do not force the issue. Because when I talk about the Green Bay Packers and their defense here, they have a lot of players on the back end, especially at the safety position. With Xavier McKinney, he will make you pay over and over again if you try to force the issue across the middle of the field. But offensively here, you have some good pieces. And one more thing about the DK Metcalf situation. If he does not have that room on the outside as an outside wide receiver, put him inside the slot. Move him around. Run some jet sweeps with him. Just let him touch the football. But you cannot force the football deep down the field, especially the middle of the field. And the running backs here, Jaylen Warren, 16 carries, 127 rushing yards. They'll get it done. Kenneth Gainwell, 3 carries, 14 rushing yards. I hate that they've singled out Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell had a very good game against the Minnesota Vikings a couple of weeks ago. Jaylen Warren was out dealing with a knee injury. He had 99 rushing yards in that matchup and 2 rushing touchdowns. I'm not saying Kenneth Gainwell is a top 5 running back, but split the workload between the two and get Jaylen Warren more so involved as a wide receiver coming out of the backfield. He led this team in receiving yards when they went against the Seattle Seahawks, and that's the only other loss in the season for the Steelers. The Steelers are a tough team offensively. Defensively speaking here, the talent is there. They just have to be better. This is a defense with TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Keanu Benn, Derek Harmon, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Jalen Ramsey, Joy Porter Jr., Darius Slay. They're 31st in passing defense, 17th in rushing defense. I'm going to tell you right now, if you cannot stop the run of the Green Bay Packers, or at least contain the run of the Green Bay Packers, you're going to be in for a complete shootout. Coach LaFleur loves to use motion and misdirection. Look at what he did last week against the Arizona Cardinals. Look at what he did last year with Josh Jacobs. And I understand this is a different season from last season, but Josh Jacobs is still one of the best running backs in the NFL. You have to contain the run here, and you have to get to Jordan Love on a consistent basis, because if you can't, he will make you pay. The man coverage in this situation could possibly help you, but man coverage has hurt the Steelers this season. Mix in some zone. Go in with some cover too, and hope that your pass rush can get home. It was so many times last week they're flipping some of their best pass rushers back into coverage with Alex Highsmith, and the same with TJ Watt. They were getting too cute. And that's okay to do against a quick game. This is a Packers offense. They will make you pay. They will take deep shots down the field too. Matthew Golden, their rookie wide receiver who they selected in the first round. They have a very good receiving tight end in Tucker Kraft, who can give you a lot of problems across the middle of the field. The scheme has to be better, and the play calls has to be better from the head coach and Mike Tomlin, and the same with Coach Austin, the defensive coordinator. But I look at it from this standpoint. If you're going to blitz Jordan Love, you have to do it from inside the slot here with Jalen Ramsey. And limit your blitzes in this matchup. We know that the Steelers, they love pressure with TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Alex Highsmith, and Herbig. But if you blitz Jordan Love a lot in this matchup, he will make you pay. He's been one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz since his first full year with the Green Bay Packers. And a lot of that is because he's a talented player, but also because of Coach LaFleur. But those defensive players, they have to step up. Patrick Queen has only had 2 good games this season. He needs to be better in coverage. And the same with Peyton Wilson. You have to watch out across the middle of the field. And if you're going to press up those wide receivers, you have to have the safety help over the top. Do not leave Jalen Ramsey on the island in this matchup. They may run a double move. It may go for a penalty. That is more so on Joy Porter Jr. than Jalen Ramsey. But we saw them struggle against Jamar Chase, and the same with T. Higgins. Just because the Green Bay Packers, they're not talked about enough in terms of the national media, they have some talent on the offensive side. But I think that the Steelers defense will play better in this matchup. They were on the road last week. It was a short week against a division rival in the Cincinnati Bengals. You're the home team this week. And usually the Steelers do bounce back at home. When you look at the situation with Coach Tomlin, they may go out there, they may lay an egg. The next week they come out and they come out fighting. So we'll see if they'll be able to go out there and do it in this matchup. But I like the Steelers and their chances in this game. They have to just limit those turnovers and get to Jordan Love and play better on the back end. Now let's talk about the Green Bay Packers here. 4-1-1 entering this matchup. Jordan Love is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but he has been inconsistent this season. Over the last couple weeks, he's done better with his accuracy deep down the field. Against the Washington Commanders, had a phenomenal game. But he could have easily had 2 to 3 more passing touchdowns if he was able to hit the deep ball to Matthew Golden. And last week against the Arizona Cardinals, 179 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 0 interceptions. He managed the game very well by spreading the ball out to Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft, and Matthew Golden. That's the key here. Feed everyone on this team. And that's the way that the Green Bay Packers are designed. Just because they spent a first-round pick on Matthew Golden, they're not going to force him the football. We know that Coach LaFleur, he loves to have wide receiver by committee. But at the same time, in those key moments, who will step up for you in key situations? Dontavian Wicks, he's dealing with an injury right now. He hasn't been able to practice. He's dealing with a calf injury. Christian Watson, he's expected to play in this matchup. It'll be his first game that he plays this season. He tore his ACL late last year. He's a game wrecker. He's this big physical wide receiver that can go deep down the field, has had drops early on in his career. But right before he got injured last season, he was a very good wide receiver and he was consistent. Target the middle of the field for the Steelers and use those slant patterns. Force Patrick Queen to have to go out there and make plays in coverage. He's been a very good blitzing linebacker and he's been solid against the run. But in terms of pass coverage, he hasn't been elite this season. He's had a lot of bad moments, even dating back to last week against Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is one of those situations with Jordan Love. And this is what I love about his game. When he sees a wide receiver, he lets it rip. You cannot hesitate in this matchup. If you clutch in this matchup, I promise you, TJ Watt will come home as much as possible. And the same with Alex Highsmith, they will make you pay for that. And this is a solid offensive line of the Green Bay Packers with Rasheed Walker. The same with Zach Tom, who is questionable for this matchup, and Jordan Morgan. When they lost against the Cleveland Browns, damn near the entire offensive line was beat up. You're dealing with second and third string talent. But over the last couple weeks, they've gotten healthier on the offensive line. And let's not forget what the Packers did against the Dallas Cowboys, even though that game was a tie. So we know that this offense, they're capable of going out there and putting up big time points. Jordan Love should be able to go out there and work off the misdirection, work into play action, and feed those wide receivers in space. And this is what he did a very good job of last week against the Arizona Cardinals. And he did a phenomenal job of this against the Washington Commanders many weeks ago, and the same against the Dallas Cowboys. So we know that he could be consistent, but the deep accuracy has to be better. But I look at someone like Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has been dealing with an illness over the last couple of weeks. 2 rushing touchdowns last week, 13 attempts, 55 rushing yards. The reason why I bring up that illness, he was a game time decision last week. That's why he only had 13 carries. But right now, he's getting better from that illness. Feed him in this matchup over and over again. Make the Steelers have to commit to stop the run. If they have to go out there and they have to commit to stop the run, you can work off that play action. But pay attention to the running back position in this game. And you have Emmanuel Wilson. But right now, Emmanuel Wilson, he's not ready for the workload like Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is a definition of a true bell cow. And I hope that he is 100% in this matchup. He's not dealing with an illness. And I hope the same for the Steelers, that they're 100% as well. Because this is a Sunday night football game. And because of that storyline with Aaron Rodgers facing his old team. And keep this in mind. The last time Aaron Rodgers went against his old team was against the New York Jets. He had 4 passing touchdowns in that matchup. It means something to him. Trust me. And now look at the defense here for the Green Bay Packers. Micah Parsons has been tremendous. Do not listen to a lot of people in the national media. A lot of those people, they just hate that Micah Parsons is no longer with the Dallas Cowboys. He is doing his job. Has a high pressure rate in the third and the fourth quarter. Had 3 sacks last week. He does need to have 3 sacks in this matchup to make a huge impact. Just his presence on the field. You move him around. Have him rush from the interior. You run some different twists and different stunts up front. You blitz from the edge. Aaron Rodgers, He has some mobility. Now, he doesn't have the same mobility that he once had before he tore his Achilles, but don't sleep on the pocket movement with Aaron Rodgers. That sidestep has been killing a lot of teams this season. One game in particular, the New York Jets, they have 4 sacks in that matchup. He sidesteps to the right, throws a complete dot to the middle of the field to Calvin Austin III. He can still move the pocket with his legs. You have to get back there and put that pressure on him. And have your hands up if you are a defensive tackle. You run so much quick game. The ball's going to be right there in front of you. Try to tip it up. Maybe it goes for an interception. The New York Giants did that against the Los Angeles Chargers a few weeks back. Dexter Lawrence walked away with an interception. And we've seen the Steelers have some moments this season to where the Seattle Seahawks, they flipped some of those linemen back in coverage. Aaron Rodgers had to throw the football away, take away those short routes, and make them beat you deep. Now, this comes down to just the passing defense here for the Green Bay Packers. They're 15th in passing defense. A lot of that is because of that game against the Dallas Cowboys, but this defense has been good this season with Jeff Hafley, who one day may be a head coach in this league. This is his second season in the NFL with the Packers being their defensive coordinator. But you have Edgerrin Cooper, very good linebacker. The same with Quay Walker. Keyshawn Nixon, they need more out of him in this matchup, especially if they're going to put him on the island against DK Metcalf. Xavier McKinney, we know that he could take the football away. You have Carrington Valentine and Javon Bullard. A lot of good players up front, but they need more out of Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness in this matchup. And don't sleep on Devontae Wyatt, and the same with Kobe Wooden. 2 very good defensive tackles with this organization. More so Devontae Wyatt. He's the best defensive tackle in this room. He is questionable for this game, so pay attention to that. But I like this matchup for the Packers, and I like this matchup for the Steelers as well. I know a lot of people right now, they may be down on the Steelers. They may be saying, hey, this defense is not worth the money right now. They can't make those adjustments. They just had a bad week last week against a veteran quarterback and Joe Flacco. They still have some names there. It just comes down to coaching. And here for the Packers, they just have to be more consistent on the offensive end. And I look at it from this situation with Coach LaFleur. We'll talk about the Steelers and Calvin Austin III here in the next couple of seconds before I give my prediction. But Coach LaFleur, he'll go out there for a couple of drives. He'll look phenomenal as a play caller. Then the next 4 to 5 drives, you'll say, what the hell are you doing with the clock management? What are you doing with the play calls here? Stick to the script. He'll run the football. With Josh Jacobs, the run game is working. Then he'll just go straight into shotgun. Don't do that in this matchup. He needs to be more consistent as well. And I think that he is one of the best head coaches in this league. He knows the weaknesses for Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers, he knows his system. So that's going to be very important to pay attention to. Maybe he's telling Jeff Hafley behind the scenes, hey, this is what Aaron Rodgers is good at. This is what Aaron Rodgers was struggling with the last time he was here in Green Bay. And Calvin Austin III is on pace to play in this matchup. He's dealing with a shoulder injury over the last couple weeks against the Minnesota Vikings. That is a player that you can go to on a consistent basis outside DK Metcalf. Roman Wilson had a good play last week. Hasn't been the wide receiver that they've been looking for. But they can feed Calvin Austin III a lot in this matchup, coming off of that 3 tight end set, and the same coming off of DK Metcalf. He's a definition of a game wrecker deep down the field and with those intermediate routes. He's a tough wide receiver. Even though he's undersized, he can give you a lot of problems. With all that being said, you have 2 phenomenal pass rushers, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons. Jordan Love, amazing quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, old, but he can still give you a lot of problems. I'm taking the Steelers at home. I'm going against the grain here. And I have the Steelers win this matchup 27-24. It's a Coach Tomlin team. It's going to go down to the wire. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have taking this game? The Green Bay Packers or the Steelers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.